Hello everyone, it is Toby here, back in the freezing cold garage, which is going to be a bit of a theme over the next few videos. It is only about 3 degrees in here, and it's not getting much warmer. I've had the radiator on for a little bit, and it's making a slight difference, but not too much, so it might be a full bench session in the hoodie today. We will see how warm I manage to get, but in today's video, as you can probably tell by the title, we are going to be hitting some bench press, and I'm also going to be talking through why, as a strongman, I continue to regularly do the bench press as a primary compound movement, even though it is very rarely, if ever, tested in competition. That is right, bench press has been a staple of my programming ever since I started lifting, and specifically since I started strongman as well. It has not changed. So obviously bench press is that lift that most people do when they start lifting anyway. But even when I transitioned into strongman not too long after I started lifting, I kept it in the program throughout all of my self-programming, and then also now I've been working with Loz for just over a year. It has been in every single one of my blocks with him as well, and there are a few reasons to that, but I'm going to go over those after I give you a bit of a session plan and we hit some bench. So yeah, we'll get the work done first and do the talking after. So, as I mentioned, a session plan. We will go through what I'm going to be doing in this video. This video is going to remain very bench press focused, so I won't show you many of the other exercises that I am doing, but I'll go through what I am doing so you guys can see a typical bench pressing session and how bench is incorporated to my program. So today is a bit more of it's a heavy pressing and tricep session with a sprinkle of rear delts at the end, because rear delts are really important. So we're going to start off with a couple of heavy triples on the flat bench press, 130 kilos for 2 sets of 3. My PR at the minute is 137.5 kilos for a double, so 130 kilos for 2 sets of 3 is pretty close to that, and should be a really good weight to do some triples at. And then we're dropping down to a smidge over 100 kilo, I think about 102.5, for a set of 8 to 12, again on the flat bench, just to finish off my chest and triceps, get a lot of blood through, get a lot of volume work in. Then we will move on to the dumbbell incline bench press, because it's great to do a dumbbell movement after doing a barbell movement as an accessory. I'll go into that a bit more later on. And then, as I said, a bit of triceps, so some rope push downs, the usual, just tricep pumpy work. And then a sprinkle of rear delts being face pulls and lock 3. If you don't know what lock 3 is, Google it. It's a fantastic rear delt complex that I do every single bench session, and that'll be that. So before I go into the nitty gritty of why bench press and why I chose to do it as a strongman, even though it is not a tested event in nearly any strongman competition, I'm going to get the work done. I'm going to get that heavy couple of 3s out of the way, and the set of 8 to 12. I fully expect to get 12. And I will show you all 3 of those sets right now. So bench is out the way, felt really strong, felt really good. And now I am going to go into exactly why, as a strongman, I still continue to prioritize bench press so heavily in my programming. Also, I've warmed up enough to take the hoodie off. So yeah, let's get into it. So I've popped you down so I don't have to continually hold the camera while I talk to you guys about this, but it mainly boils down to the fact that the bench press is a really, really solid strength building exercise for the chest and triceps. Now, that might come as a really obvious statement to you guys, but a lot of people, when they get into strongman, they think they should just stick to the events that are in strongman. So they do a lot of deadlifts, they do a lot of log press, overhead presses of various different degrees, they do a lot of medleys, stones, and they don't do a lot of typical barbell movements that are actually really, really good for building strength. And where a lot of people fall flat in strongman is they try and specify too early, before they have that base level of strength that is needed to do a lot of the events. So they will jump in at the deep end, try to do Atlas stones, log press, all of that stuff without having a significant base level of strength that you need to be able to compete in this sport. Now, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with having a play with the events while at a lighter weight and a not so high strength. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I do it myself. But to prioritise all of your training on just getting the technique of the events right is not going to be enough. You're going to need to build that base level of strength through the normal means everyone else does in the gym. That being your squats, your bench, your deadlift, your overhead. Those are the four main staples, and that is what each of my sessions is based around, if you haven't noticed already. So Monday leg day is squat focused, with then some more specific accessories to build deadlift power, strength in the posterior chain, lots of hamstrings. That is the more strongman specific side of the leg day, but it's still all using machines in the gym, barbell movements, nothing specific to strongman. Then on Tuesday, it's my bench day, which is the day you're seeing now and have seen quite a bit. And that is where we do bench press as our focus. I'll go into why in just a minute, with some more rear delt work, tricep work, and a lot more strongman specific accessories to build the strength in your front delt, upper chest and triceps that you need specifically for the log press. And then Thursday will be a deadlift day, which is obviously an event in strongman, so deadlifts are a heavy focus of that day, and getting deadlifts better is a heavy focus on that day. But that day is also about building a thick, strong upper back, which is really useful, unbelievably useful in strongman for both the pressing and moving events and any other event in strongman. If you have a thick, strong back, you can get really far in this sport. And then the Friday and Saturday is the more fun strongman specific day, but does still contain some exercises that are baseline level strength. So obviously I start with the log, but then we've got chain bench press or close grip bench, a bench variation, again, just to build that base level of strength. A few accessories to go ahead and build up the delts and build up the shoulder strength before we then move on to the specific events and such. So why is that tangent important? Well, it is important to show that the sessions, while being strongman specific for training, they don't deviate that far from a powerlifting program, a general power building program, a starting strength, just a strength training program. The base level fundamentals are still there, which is the barbell movements, the heavy accessories, which aren't neglected, which is, again, comes back to exactly why bench press is still included in a strongman program. And that is because it is a fundamental power building movement. And yes, where the bench press might not be the best chest developer for bodybuilding, it might not have the best carryover for log press, for example, it still has massive, massive use in building tricep strength, chest strength, shoulder strength, and all in all, general upper body strength. And there are a few exercises like it where an incline bench press might come more useful for the log press being in that incline benched position. It also comes with more risk, it's an easier exercise to get injured on, and you can't go quite as heavy, whereas the lying flat bench press allows you to load up a really much heavier weight than you'd ever log press, but get that in your hands and feel that locked out, lower down and press back up. It allows your triceps to feel a much heavier weight than you ever would do with a standing log press, and that is why it's really, really helpful. And there's no reason to say if you have shoulder pain while flat bench pressing, there is no reason why you can't do a neutral grip bench press, a dumbbell bench press, a close grip bench press, anything that you need to help you make a variation of it. It's no different from when you're trying to build deadlift strength, doing a pause deadlift or an elevated deadlift, something like that. It is just an accessory movement that is used to build that strength, where bench press will never likely be tested in a strongman comp. There's only a few instances of that ever happening, and usually if it's a bench press like event, it's usually in some form of machine like Brian Shaw's standing chest press, or it is just straight up a log press or something else which isn't a bench press at all. But there's not to say that the bench is a useless exercise for strongmen. And the vast majority watching this video will of course know that you'll be doing bench press yourself in every single week or variable times. Just you'll be doing bench if you know what you're doing essentially. But a lot of people do join this sport, jump in at the novice level, neglect building that power that you get from the bench press and other similar exercises. A lot of people won't even squat if they don't have it coming up at a competition, where you can see squats have massive benefit because they are just the ideal full body exercise. And even if, like me, I'm injured in the knee, I'm still getting box squats in, I'm still getting good mornings, any sort of squat like variation to build that power, because it has a fantastic carryover for deadlift power off the floor. So I think a lot of people specify too easily. They want to be labeled as a strongman or a powerlifter. So if they do powerlifting, they'll focus on the 3 powerlifting movements. If they do strongman, they will only focus on the competition events that they have coming up, or just the events they like or want to do, the fun strongman stuff like lifting stones, lifting logs, throwing sandbags, and they won't go in and build that base level of strength that they need to succeed. So that is why, in short, probably not even in short, in quite long, why bench press is still a staple of every single week of my programming, why I still choose to do it multiple times a week, and why it is fantastic carryover to what I'm doing. I mean, since my knee's been injured and I've not been able to push press and log press, I've been focusing the bench and the barbell strict press, and now I'm getting back on the log. You'll be seeing in my log sessions coming up that I am much stronger in the lockout and the power off the shoulders, because I've been focusing so much on bench press. And yes, my bench press has gone up, but I'm not testing maxes, I'm not testing super heavy. I'm doing a very heavy weight for multiple reps, getting the volume in after that as well. And then when I move on to the log where I actually do care what my max is, because I've got a max log coming up in competition, I'm finding that I can strict press 90 kilo like it's nothing, because I'm bench pressing 130 kilo for threes like it's nothing. It's a really useful carryover, and I urge all of you who have quickly decided to drop bench press from your program to bring it back in, give it a chance, whether it be a variation, an accessory movement, or a day dedicated to it. It is a fantastic movement. And you see that it's not just at the novice level that bench press is neglected. A lot of pro strongmen don't bench press, and that is because they already have that base level of strength that I'm talking about. They're pro strongmen, they're at the top level, so they don't need to build that base level of strength like you and I do. And the great thing about a bench press is you need a bench and a barbell and a rack, and pretty much every gym you can do that. You can't go into every gym and do log press, you can't go into every gym and lift atlas stones, but you can go into nearly every gym and bench press, which is again why it's a fantastic movement. You can get a remarkable amount done in this sport with just doing barbell movements. I mean, the first time I went and competed in a strongman competition, all I had was the barbell movements, and I'd never lifted any sort of keg or sandbag until a couple of weeks before the competition. And when I got there was the monster circus dumbbell I had to do, and I don't even have one of those now. I never even trained on one. The first time I used that was warming up for the event. So don't try and specify too easily. Just get in, get some work done, build that base level of strength, and focus on the events when you have that base level of strength down and you're in the position to be able to do them. And main thing of all, if you are going for strongman gains, get a good strongman program, stick to it. And if it says to bench press, you better bloody bench press. And if it doesn't, then don't worry, you'll probably be doing some form of incline, close grip, seated. Like a lot of the early programs I did had seated pin press, which is again just another variation where it's a slight incline with a log pinned down, again building that power from a stop. I've rambled on far too long about the bench press, haven't I? Then again, that is why you clicked on this video. You wanted to see why strongmen, and myself included, still continue to train the bench press very regularly, even though it is not tested in competition. And obviously take this with a grain of salt. It's not the best in every scenario for everyone doing it, but to build that base level of strength for the average person, it is a staple exercise. And yeah, There's nothing more to say than that, really. So I hope you guys enjoyed a bit more of an informative video there. I thought it was just important, rather than doing all these just training videos following my training, actually taking the time to sit and talk about why I make certain choices, or why I have made certain choices in my strongman career so far, my strongman lifting progression, why I still continue to do certain things the way I do them, will be very useful instead of you guys just seeing what I do. If there is anything else that you have noticed a lot in my training that you want an explanation for, why I continue to come back to it, do let me know in the comments down below, because I'd be happy to make any sort of video explaining them. And if it's just a quick explanation, I will reply to that comment. I reply to every comment anyway, so please feel free to ask any question down below. And if it's a topic like this one, then I will make a video about it, so stay tuned for that. And to make sure you don't miss any future videos that I make, please be sure to hit subscribe. We are well on our way to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. We are moving really well. I just want to thank all of you guys for the support and all the newcomers over the last few weeks. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I've been Toby, and I will see you in the next video.